Well, thanks for staying with us here on Joy News today. Now, later today, we will air a documentary on the Sino-Hydro deal brokered in 2017 with the Chinese, which was to deliver massive infrastructure projects in Ghana. As part of Total Recall, Joy News' Evans Mensah has been probing how far we'd gone as a country in drawing down the benefits of the deal, and the answers he has obtained so far will be the focus of the documentary, which will air on the Pulse at 3 p.m. on this channel and again at 8:30 p.m. Here is an excerpt.
Traffic, crazy snaking traffic. As far as the eyes can see, and as you can see behind me, this is the Adenta Dodowa Road. It used to be pretty easy to drive on in the morning and in the evening, but it has become a hot spot for traffic and a great border for those who live on this stretch. There are sprawling communities coming up on this stretch. This all the way to Oyibi, you have Ashiye, and then you also have places on this stretch with upscale middle-class residential areas, which has become pretty attractive for the middle class. The reason why in the last 2 years, this road is possibly one of the most traffic-prone areas in the Greater Accra region. What people have to do in the morning is wake up as early as 3 and 4 a.m. and avoid the main road, because if you stay on the main road, it's going to take you more than 3 hours to make a stretch that would ordinarily take you 20 minutes to travel. So what they do is find alternative routes. Now, this is one of the alternative routes that those who live on this stretch, who have to, on the daily basis, deal with the crazy traffic, have resorted to. These routes, as you can see in the background, is terrible in its own nature. It's not asphalted at all. It has gullies in it. It has craters in it. But people have to bear with that. That is the only way you can dodge the traffic. And it snakes by itself through the meandering communities in the connecting routes that join the main road. And so many have had to resort to this, as you see in the background, risking their own cars, their own health, and of course, having to pump a lot of money in repairing vehicles. For those who live in this particular community and on the stretch from Adenta all the way to Oyibi and Dodowa and beyond, it has become a living hell. But this is one of the roads that was touted a few years back as one that has been approved under the Sino-Hydro deal. It was supposed to have started years ago, but it hasn't started. The promise to get this road fixed and dualized, which was approved by Parliament as part of the first lot of the Sino-Hydro deal, hasn't materialized. And many of the residents in this area and in this community on the stretch are still hopeful that it will happen, that the politicians will keep their promise.
It's very bad. Every day, every time in the day, it's bad.
So what do you do? I mean, I see that you've been trying to dodge it.
Okay, so I live at the Regimental Estate, so I have to go round, and the road at the back is so bad. So it's very difficult.
How early do you have to wake up just to dodge the traffic and get into town?
4 o'clock. They need to help us.
In 2018, the Adenta Dodowa Road was one of 10 lots approved under the Chinese-sponsored Sino-Hydro deal. It was scheduled to begin in 2019. 2 years on, the road remains undone, in a complete state of disrepair, and with traffic congestion worse than anything you have ever experienced anywhere, all day, every day.
Evans, interestingly, honestly, I think it's dead.
Qasi Ofori is ranking member on the Finance Committee in Parliament.
I think it's dead for a simple reason. We were made to believe that the government is bringing in a special structure which is going to solve our infrastructure problems. It is certainly not going to be alone, but a better system. and we will see an investment in excess of 3 billion US dollars over a period of time. Parliament approved an agreement for them to bring in the first tranche of about 500 million US dollars. But as we speak, under 25 million Ghana cedis has been drawn down. So that's, for me, after so many years, I can conclude that the Sino-Hydro agreement is dead.
Well, ahead of the airing, Evans Mensah says $100 million of the $2 billion has been assessed so far, with official sources saying a lot of the difficulties in assessing the funds has to do with the COVID-19 pandemic. He spoke to Israel Lai on the AM show earlier.
Side.
Yeah.
Now, the thing there, though, as we've seen, we are nowhere near getting the bauxite ready for refining to pay the Chinese. And so the Chinese are obviously not going to release the money to you when they haven't seen evidence that you can pay back. And I think that is definitely part of the difficulties that we've had. But of course, let me state that the Vice President's office emphasized that as far as they're concerned, the primary reason why this has delayed is because of the COVID-19 pandemic last year.
Really?
That they
Hold
insist.
on, Evans.
Yeah.
COVID-19 comes in here too.
Yeah. I mean, the office of the Vice President explained to me as part of the work that the main reason why, one of the primary reasons why this has happened, the delay, is because of the pandemic last year, which, in their words, slowed things in China and made it a bit more difficult for the Chinese to release the funds. So that's
Now, the suspects at the center of what the police now say was a fake kidnapping and pregnancy story has been granted 50,000 cedis bail with 2 sureties. Josephine, 28, pleaded not guilty when she appeared in court in Takoradi today. My colleague Talia Kwanzaa has been speaking with her lawyer.
Oh, the court, looking at the offences as charged, the court granted the accused person, the court granted her bail, and that she would have to reappear on the 14th of October, 2021, for CMC to be done. That is for prosecution to bring all their documents that they intend to rely on for us to go on with the matter. So she has been granted bail.
What were the charges levied against her as she also pleaded not guilty?
The charges against her were deceiving a public officer and publication of false news that she was missing, deceiving the public officer that she was pregnant, and just publishing a false news that she had been kidnapped. These are the offences that was preferred against her.
And according to the prosecutor, she confessed. What does the legal team have against them, as they are saying that she confessed even at the hospital?
Yes,
that she was not under any duress?
That is what they are saying. If it was final, they would have convicted and sentenced her. But it is the court that will determine the actual confession and whatever. And that will, if indeed they present something of that sort, then we have to go through mini trial. When you talk about mini trial, while the case is going on, even when that statement was taken, the investigator will stand in the box and we cross-examine him as to the veracity of the confession.
As it stands now, it seems much credence is given to her being pregnant or not being pregnant, unlike the kidnap issue.
No, they added the kidnap issue. So we will go into all. In fact, we will go into all. We will look at the pregnancy and we will look at the kidnap issue. That is what they have preferred against her. So we will look into all.
As a lawyer, do you have doubts about the work done by the police so far? You are the lawyer for the defense.
Yes, I cannot have doubts. The only thing is that they will have to present whatever they have. When they present it, then I punch holes. We punch holes into it, subject it to cross-examination. That is to go through fire. If it stands the test of time, it is justice we want. It is not just that we want to defend, but we want justice to be done.
Okay, but you have been speaking to your client. What exactly did he tell you prior to you coming to court?
I cannot disclose that.
So counsel, your argument was that the charges against her the least charges.
That's misdemeanor. That's misdemeanor. It means that if she is found guilty and going to be sentenced.
Well, a family member of Josephine Penny in Mensah has been expressing satisfaction with this morning's proceedings in courts.
Hey, this is where we have reached, so let's focus on what is coming next.
I mean, were you surprised by the confession? Is that the confession?
Denial
that she wasn't pregnant, she faked the pregnancy.
Yeah, for me, I was surprised. I was very, very surprised. For me, I'm very, very surprised. And it's at a particular type of shock, and still I'm in shock. Like, I feel like, no, Charlie. But we believe in God.
When you say you are in shock, exactly how do you mean?
I mean about the whole thing, the whole
confession,
the whole everything, the confession and thing. I think God is up to something.
Are you suggesting that she was forced on a duress, to make such a confession?
I can't say that for now.
But what do you know? Was she or was she not pregnant?
Oh, yeah, then I mean, it has been fair. It's the most simple. Though in time on court today, but I mean when there and BBI is Saudi, I mean, yeah, the lawyer for I mean, what I said, a lawyer for Yami more one man for appealing for the girl, and I get them when I see, and be answer. Yamina, then I see. I mean, we are happy. At least you bring an Adi a coffee. At least you able to me and Casasoya, you want to you better than me, I see. Zakot in the can, you're a coffee.
The Ghana Police Service has busted a member of the gang behind recent robberies in parts of Accra. 4 daylight robberies were reported in parts of the city last week. In one instance, the robbers opened fire, leaving a bystander with gunshot wounds. Speaking on Current Affairs program News File, Acting Director of Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service, ACP Qasi Ofori, said the service is in the process of establishing the identities of the rest of the gang. He also added that the police are re-examining the operational strategies to boost visibility at economic centers in Accra.
Their way of doing things have been properly established within our intelligence system, and we are using every available means to get them. Thirdly, we've also distributed dossiers on them to our operational teams, to make sure that we get them. And we are coordinating these operations from national to regional level to the divisional levels. And we can see that coordination working very well. Even in one of the robbery cases that you've mentioned, we have we've made an arrest. And that person is under serious investigations. And the coming days, the coming times might tell us what we're going to do. That is why we said we're closing on them, and we've thrown an eager eye, monitoring all their developments.
Meanwhile, the police have arrested a bank worker in connection with recent robberies targeting bank customers. ACP Qasi Ofori says the service is making progress in dealing with the recent surge.
We arrested someone and working with the bank. Not necessarily a banking staff, but working with the bank. We arrested him yesterday, and a lot is happening on that also.
Is this in Accra or Kumasi?
In Accra.
Okay.
In Accra. And in Kumasi yesterday, when people also went to rob at Dawunsaso, the police killed 2 in the heat of the operations, where they ransacked a businessman, wanted to take some pieces of gold away, and the police killed 2 yesterday. And that is a good story. So coming to the...
That one, is it intentional to deter these criminals? Because I'm beginning to hear a lot of, we gun down, and you are killing them.
No, especially, that is in the heat of operations.
Okay.
This one, they are into action. They were shooting all over, breaking doors and so forth. When the police chanced upon them, responded appropriately. Like the Opebia one, for instance, when they went in, it was through the monitoring of a member of the public, looking at the way when the man took the money, when he was going, the way, they took off, the way things, the way they were even monitoring the guy. they alerted police, police moved in and saved the situation. And lo and behold, the man was having a lot of money. So one thing we are saying is that corporate institutions, businessmen that would like to go to the bank, they should look at the proper security arrangement. They can even fall on their local police to assist them.
Now, scores of residents in the coastal community of Tetteh in the Ablekuma West municipality of the Greater Accra region have been rendered homeless after violent tidal waves destroyed their houses last week. The only health facility in the area risks collapse as work on the Dansoman Sea defense has stalled for more than 2 years. The affected residents, mainly women and children, say they've been forced to sleep outside at the mercy of the weather. For Joy in My Community this week, Manuel Kranting visited the Tetteh area and now reports.
Tetteh is a coastal community which lies about 100 meters north of the Atlantic Ocean. There are no government schools here, no government hospitals, or even government-controlled public toilets. Unemployment is quite high in this area too. While they grapple with these challenges, there's another one which is threatening their very lives and livelihoods. Tidal waves. Violent, destructive, and ferocious tidal waves. Every week, at least 5 houses here are washed into the sea by the tidal waves. This is as a result of rising sea levels occasioned by climate change. Not even the sea defense project here has prevented buildings from being washed away by the sea.
For years, ni buildings here. It has been here for long.
But he is not alone. Qasi, his neighbor, has been up since 3 a.m. planting beams to support the fast eroding foundation of his building.
As you can see, the way the waves is, it's very, very, very scary. But what will you do? I have a 2-year kid, very, very young, who is with me, and it's not safe for her.
The kids here are literally petrified. They look on helplessly as the only places they have known to be home continue to be broken away, building after building.
To commit, it's a affair, but I'm in baby Ameda. And I'm more than one Ameda, you may said I knew. And I'm never my men papa in Naipia. Yeah, but she not dining in the but now I want my chain. I said I'm school.
The contractor has had calls to alter the design of the remaining 400 meters to allow for a landing site for the fishermen in the area. The spot for the intended landing site dovetails into the piece of land which houses the only medical facility in the area, the Royal Memorial Hospital. The hospital stands just some 10 meters away from the last standing structure at the shore. The nurses here practically work in fear. Mensah is one of the nurses at the surgical theater of the facility.
Some time ago, we were having a case done at a theater whilst we've cut a patient's abdomen open, and then all of a sudden we had a shake in the ground, and everything, the towels and then the bed the patient was on, everything sank down, which was very scary.
This 2-kilometer sea defense project is being executed by Sidalco Construction Limited, partly to reclaim some of the lost land and also protect the buildings along the coastline from the devastation of the ocean. Work started here in November 2015 and was to be completed by 2018. But that was not to be, as several challenges including logistical constraints and issues of payment certificates delayed the completion of the project up until now. Charles Owusu is the assemblyman for the Tetteh electoral area.
And they told us that the sea level is higher than the community. So if we can stay safe here, unless they construct a sea defense for us. Since the construction of the sea defense, you see, they started from Glefe Enclaves. And now here is Akwetema, but they have stopped here. So we called on our MP, which is in the person of Honorable Esla Usu. And she came here last time with, I think, the housing minister or so. And they came and looked at it. And then they said, okay, government have awarded the contract to that same contractor. But the contractor said they need clearance before they can continue the job. So that is how far we have gotten to.
The only facility.
Well, let's bring in Elvis Ajayba, his public relations officer of the Ministry of Works and Housing. Elvis, first of all, has this situation come to your attention?
Good afternoon, Mama V, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Good afternoon and good afternoon to your listeners. Yes, indeed, it has come to our notice, and as the Assemblyman rightly said, the Honourable Minister has gone to the site as part of his tour last month, and he himself recognized the devastating nature of the residents, and he has acknowledged that whatever that government has to do to ensure that that part of the project is completed. We'll do. Remember, this project is a two-phase project. The first one, or the phase one, as we put it, was a 2-kilometer project. So if you recall, if you would listen to the residents, they acknowledge that some, let's say, pump roads, all those parts have been completed and that the residents are okay. It's left with that portion. And that is what the Honourable Minister has assured that very soon, because it's very urgent, it's an urgent situation that needs an attention, and that as soon as possible, he has to activate the process to ensure that the contractor actually comes back to site and then that work on that.
Okay, so Elvis, let's get a bit of clarity, because the Assemblyman indicated that that project has been awarded to the same contractor, except that the contractor said he has not been given the clearance. What's the position?
Exactly what I'm saying, that, it's a process. When you want to award a contract, it's a process. We have to initiate the commencement certificate with the Ministry of Finance, and that is what the Honourable Minister has done, and that I can assure that very soon the resident will be the sign of relief with the coming of the contractor on site.
Okay, so in the interim, as the people are still faced with this challenge, what's the arrangement in the meantime?
Well, you see, the design of this project, or this defense project, are in such a way that I perfectly agree, or I share the sentiment of the people, because, like I said, once it's a two-phase project and you have almost completed about 95% of the phase one done, obviously from a layman's view, you could clearly see that the branch of the sea will now shift to the portion that the residents are complaining about, and that is exactly what is currently playing out. But like I said, we have acknowledged that it's an urgent situation, and the ministry is doing everything possible for the contractor to come to site, because it will not augur well for the country. It will not augur well for even the capital, the human capital of the country, if we even lose a life or some properties are destroyed. So that is what the ministry is currently working on, and maybe I can assure you and the residents who are currently listening that very soon the contractor will come to site when the commencement certificate is awarded.
Okay, when you say very soon, help us so that we can get some timelines and get back to you maybe later on.
Well, I may not be in a position to give the timeline. Like I said, it's a process. But what is refreshing is that the process has started. We have engaged the Ministry of Finance. The Honourable Minister himself has engaged them. They have triggered the process, and that I'm very sure that very soon we will come to an end, and the contractor will come back.
Just the last thing before you go, Elvis. The only health facility, I don't know if you've been following the story, if you heard a nurse in the hospital indicate that they also experience some discomfort, sharing the story of a surgical operation ongoing when, you know, they experience some shakeup. Has this particular situation of the hospital also received some attention from the ministry?
Yes, Mama, indeed. We've seen the particular facility were excited and all that. But one thing that is erroneous that I would wish to correct from your documentary that you played is the fact that you look at it paints the picture that the ministry or our coastal defense project seems to take land from the environment or from the residents. No, all our sea defense projects rather reclaim land from the seabed. Those are the design or those are the nature of our sea defense project. So it's not true that that particular spot is like the design is intent to take that particular land from that. That's just by the way. Now coming to the facility itself, the hydro department have been, if I say the hydrological department of the ministry has been notified about that, and I'm told, in fact, on Wednesday or Thursday, that is what the briefing I get, that the hydro department will dispatch some technical men to go to the facility and assess the situation. It is upon the completion of the assessment that we will be able to know if there is a need for any temporary measure for that particular incident that happened.
Elvis, we'll leave it here. We'll follow up after Wednesday. Thank you very much for talking to us. He speaks for the Works and Housing Ministry. You're watching Joy News today. We'll take a breather. We'll be back with business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. As government takes steps to improve on revenue mobilization, tax expert Dr. Abdallah Ali Nachia is confident digitization of tax payments will mitigate non-tax compliance issues and broaden the tax net. Government has been sounding the alarm on tax evasion, especially amongst professionals. Here's more from this year's presidential luncheon by the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana.
The 2021 annual presidential luncheon of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana was under the theme using digitization to broaden the tax net. Senior lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Law, Dr. Abdallah Ali Nachia, maintains the assertion that some accountants are evading taxes are partially true. According to him, one of the key challenges the country faces in tax mobilization is unemployment and corruption.
We need to adopt digital platforms. Very necessary. In that way, we are able to reduce the kind of barriers that exist in tax compliance. We can also use data-centric approaches in dealing with any compliance problems that taxpayers may have. We can also, with the digitization, deal with the taxation of the digital economy because we can interface with the digital service providers and be able to track their revenues. I'm sure we are all aware the savings that the company of our past president, Mr. Christian Soti, has been able to give the government through its fuel tracking system. These are all some of the ways we can broaden the tax system.
President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, Professor Williams Atulik, admonished members of the Institute to fulfill all tax obligations due them.
Quite recently, we all heard the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, admonishing professionals to turn away from avoiding their tax obligations, as has been discovered by the GRA. Unfortunately for me, both examples he used are my avowed professions, the legal and accountancy professions. Therefore, I took a double dose of the admonishment of the President. Dear colleagues, professional accountants, permit me to take the liberty to add to the admonition of His Excellency, the President of the Republic, by asking all of us to do the needful, to be tax compliant. This is an imperative. Whilst using tax planning schemes to minimize the amount of tax to pay is not unlawful, the accounting profession should support government to maximize tax revenue.
Minister for National Security Albert Kandapa, speaking on behalf of Vice President Dr. Baumia, said broadening the tax net will help government achieve its revenue target.
Digitalization is essential for growth and essential for development. Technology has more far-reaching benefits than do the manual systems that we operated prior to the global outbreak of the pandemic in March 2020.
In other news, PZ Qasi says its brand strategy is to get closer to its consumers and foster family bonds and togetherness. According to its brand activation and development manager, Clara Ofori, her outfit will continue to manufacture products that have the consumer as the central focus. She was speaking to Joy Business during a donation by winner of Season 3 of the Qasi's Baby Moments competition to the Pentecost Hospital in Medina.
Winner of Season 3 of the Qasi's Baby Moments, Nana Tutua, as part of prizes won during the competition, have donated home care items worth 10,000 Ghana cedis to the Pentecost Hospital at Medina. The Qasi's Baby Moments is a photo challenge for babies that allows for parents to capture beautiful and creative moments of their babies. Brand Activation and Development Manager of Qasi's Baby, Clara Ofori Edu, explains that the competition is an avenue for the brand to get closer to its customers.
As a brand, Qasi's Baby understands that family bonding is something that we can't do away with. So we encourage family bonding, and for us, what we do is through the fun photo contest that we do every year as our campaign. So out of this campaign that we do, we get families together, and then we get to make people realize that family bonding is something that should not be taken lightly at all. That is why we also say that as part of the prize package for the winner, we want to impact the society as a brand. It's a caring brand. So as part of the prize package, the winner gets prizes worth 10,000 Ghana cedis, and so she gets to choose a children's ward of her choice, and we do the donations through the baby, which means we are in every homes, not just homes that for our consumers, but also to people who are more or less can't afford, but also want to have that brand image as well.
Parents of the winner, Baby Toots, say the competition has been a great platform for their family.
This program has been very, very beneficial for the family. I mean, beginning from where we started into the competition, the pictures that we posted, we got a lot of hits. Many people came to me telling me how beautiful my daughter's picture was. And we just got general support from the public. I mean, through the competition, we were exposed to a lot of people. And I think that through this competition, the family learned a lot of good things. We were able to meet so many people, and then, I mean, got a family from this competition.
They explained that they chose Pentecost Hospital after careful consideration of the facility and its challenges.
Okay, Pentecost Hospital was chosen because I'm a midwife at Pentecost Hospital, and we attend to a lot of clients, and it's a referral center too. So I see how plenty mothers come here without, items for delivery. So I thought it was wise for me to bring the donation here so that we can also introduce it to the new mothers and the expectant mothers, and to also give it to the less privileged.
Now, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has kept the policy rate at 13.5%. We have that story coming up on the marketplace at the top of the hour. Up next, sports.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the sports segment with me, Ray Kuwampo. For Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association, Henry Asante-Chum, has emphasized that there is no need for coach of the Black Stars, Milivan Raiva, to apologize to Ghanaians for leaving the team after the 2010 World Cup in South Africa for another juicy contract. He was speaking with MFR Pau on The Probe yesterday evening.
Milo worked for 1 month after the
expiration of his contract in 2010. He wanted to continue. He mentioned it at the at the press conference, the unveiling press conference, that he would have loved to stay with us, but the circumstances didn't allow him. And at that time, his contract elapsed in June, just I think 2 days or so after we were eliminated by Uruguay. And then he comes back to Ghana. The FA is not forthcoming with information. He doesn't know the way forward. Offers are on the table. If you were Milo in 2010, what would you have done? So he felt we weren't ready to renew his contract at the time, and that's why he walked away. Personally, I think he owes us no apology, honestly. And it's one of the things he spoke about when we unveiled him. He says he feels he has an unfinished business with Ghana because he would have really loved to continue with us, but for the circumstances that he met after the 2010 World Cup. So let's move on.
Let's move on, Henry says, but let's come back to Ghanaian local football, where the poor nature of the Techiman Ohene Ameao Park is adversely affecting juvenile football within the Techiman municipality and the Bono East region at large. The venue, which serves as the home ground for the only Premier League side in the region, Techiman 11 Wonders, also serves as a venue for Division 1 League side Techiman City and a host of Division 2 clubs in the area. Management of Coles football teams who are participating in a Super Sub Middle League for Juvenile Under-17 tournament are calling on authorities to redevelop the park to save football talent in the region. Anna Sabit has more in the following report.
This is the Techiman Ohene Ameao Park. It is the venue for Premier League matches involving Techiman 11 Wonders. And in the just ended season, Kumasi-based King Faisal also used this same pitch for their Premier League matches. As I speak to you right now, there is a sub-zonal league for the Coast teams that is supposed to take off here. Yesterday it was rain off, and some 24 hours after the rains, the pitch is still filled with water. The footballers who are supposed to play are those you just see, trying to whip out the water away from the pitch before the game is going to commence. The people here are quite worried that if there is no aid from those in authorities to ensure that this pitch is redeveloped, these talents who are at the basic level, at the coast level, will not have the kind of motivation to continue with the kind of football they have to play.
It is Sub-Middle League for Juvenile U17 tournament. It started yesterday. It was rain off. We have to cancel the matches and start today. This morning we're here. The pitch is full of water. We have no other option than to ask the children or the players to assist us to take the water out of the field. So you saw the players working. That was the reason why we are working. We are here for a tournament. Because of the nature of the pitch, we have to ask the boys to do that job for us.
They are appealing to authorities to come to their aid by helping redevelop the Ohene Ameao Park, which is the only Premier League venue in the entire Bono East region.
Because with that park, we are
calling on authorities to come to our aid. Our MPs and MCs should try to develop the Ohene Ameao Park so that football in general will be enhanced, because it's always sad that games are called off whenever it rains. They say the terrible nature of the pitch and the absence of alternative football centers in the area is contributing to the number of injuries recorded amongst younger footballers within the region.
Before we qualified, the teams qualified for this tournament, about 7 or 8 players had injuries, fractures, dislocation, and others. So it's affecting the boys heavily. Somebody will get from that injury and cannot continue as a footballer again. The team is full of talent, but pitches or area to develop them, we don't have it.
The entire Tetteh municipality, which is the Bono East regional capital, is not having a single AstroTurf pitch. So to some of the people here, all we are calling on authorities, especially government, is to establish AstroTurf pitches here to aid the juvenile soccer.
My plea is that they should come to our aid, construct 3 or 4 AstroTurf pitches for us.
Well, that's how we wrap up the sports here. My name is Robbery.
Well, that's it for Joy News today. I thank you for your company this afternoon. Do log on to myjoyonline.com midday.com, where we have more news. Enjoy the rest of the day.